Let's go Dolphins! What if I told you that one of the biggest surprises of the Miami Dolphins offseason isn't Tua's health, the cornerback room, or even the shaky offensive line, but the linebacker group? That's right. While fans and media are obsessing over the usual headline makers, there's a storm quietly building in the heart of this defense. And trust me, this could be the position that decides whether this team sinks or swims in 2025. The drama? It's real. We're not just talking about who's starting. We're talking about potential roster cuts that could shock you, a breakout brewing from an unexpected name, and yet another high draft pick who's dangerously close to being labeled a bust. And with training camp just days away, everything is on the line for these guys. Oh, and don't think Chris Greer is off the hook here. He should have been gone already, but somehow, he's still holding the keys. And that's affecting everything from roster decisions to contract extensions. The stakes have never been higher for Mike McDaniel, for Tua, and for this entire organization. You want answers? You want the real story behind the linebacker room and the brutal record prediction that just dropped for the Dolphins? Already got chills? You should. But before I take you deep into what's happening behind the scenes, hit that like button if you bleed aqua and orange. And if you've been riding with the Dolphins for over 20 years, drop this in the comments right now. Go Dolphins! My heart bleeds aqua and orange. Let's dive in. Now before we jump into all the details you need to know, smash that like button, but only if you're a true Miami Dolphins fan. If you've been rocking aqua and orange for more than 20 years, I want to hear you say it in the comments. Go Dolphins! My heart bleeds aqua and orange. So here we go. Let's talk about this linebacker room. While everyone's been focused on quarterback depth or secondary injuries, something rare is happening in this linebacker core. It's actually one of the few units on this team that looks stable. Yeah, you heard me. With Terrell Dodson and Jordan Brooks locking in that 1-2 punch, there's real potential. Dodson, in limited reps last season, led the team in interceptions with 3. That's not just solid, that's disruptive. Brooks, if the front office has any sense left, they're already working on a low-cost extension. It's a no-brainer. You clear cap and maintain continuity. Add to that the arrival of KJ Britt and Willie Gay, 2 players who bring serious thump. Willie Gay made a statement with that scream when he hit the field at OTAs. That's the kind of fire this defense needs. And Britt, a sturdy piece for the depth chart, looks like a guy who's not afraid to get in the trenches and make impact tackles. I'm telling you, these are not filler names. These are guys who can contribute rotationally from day one. Now, where it gets interesting is with the guys fighting for the bottom spots, Channing Tindall, Cone Jackson, and Eugene Asante. Tindall's the name fans will recognize. A former third-rounder, but let's not sugarcoat it, he hasn't lived up to the billing. He survived on special teams, but the patience is wearing thin. Even Chris Greer, who normally hugs his picks like a security blanket, reportedly said they're not holding Tindall's hand anymore. That's telling. As for Jackson and Asante, both undrafted, both hungry. And with a new special teams coordinator, this is how you make the team. You make yourself invaluable on special teams, and you outwork the veteran ahead of you. Tindall's job is on the line, and fans need to start paying attention here because if either of those rookies pops in preseason, it's going to shake up the roster in a way most aren't expecting. But again, this is one of the very few areas where I can say the Dolphins have legitimate depth. You've got coverage guys in Dodson and Brooks. You've got physical hitters in Gay and Britt. And you've got a battle brewing for that 5th linebacker spot that's going to get decided on grit, not draft pedigree. Honestly, it's the kind of competition that could bring out the best in this group. And speaking of bringing things out into the open, let's talk Adam Rank. The NFL Network personality just dropped his annual record prediction for every team, and when it comes to the Dolphins, let's just say he didn't do us any favors. According to Rank, Miami starts the year 3-2, picking up wins against Indianapolis and New England, but he immediately writes off the Buffalo matchup as a loss. Which, fair. Until this team proves they can beat Josh Allen and company, no one's going to give us that W. But it gets more controversial. He predicts a loss to the Chargers, okay, maybe, but his call on Cleveland? Come on, man. He literally says, someone's got to lose to them. Why not Miami? That's not analysis. That's disrespect. The Browns are a mess. 5 QBs on the depth chart, and no real plan. How do you justify chalking that up as a Dolphins loss? If anything, that's a game we should dominate. Then he turns around and says we'll beat Buffalo at home, but only after having us lose 5 straight? Sorry, that reeks of backpedaling. Like he looked at his chart and thought, oh, I better toss them a win before the fan base revolts. It's inconsistent, it's lazy, and it screams pity pick. And it doesn't stop there. He's got losses to the Falcons, Ravens, the Commanders, which, by the way, is being played in Madrid, not even in the States, and losses to the Jets and Steelers. The only bounce back he offers is a win against the Bengals, calling it a trap game. But by that point, he's already marked us down as a 7-win team. Let that sink in. 7 wins. That's a full game worse than last year. No faith in the roster. No belief in McDaniel. No respect for Tua. And honestly, if that happens, if this team finishes with 7 wins, everything changes. Tua's done in Miami. If he gets hurt again, it's over. Mike McDaniel, done. And yes, I don't care what you say. Chris Greer, gone too. He should have been out already. If this team doesn't make the playoffs, there's no defending this front office anymore. The truth is, Channing Tindall has reached the most critical crossroads of his career. And let's not forget, this isn't some 6th-round flyer we're talking about. This is a 3rd-round investment from a front office that has consistently failed to develop their mid-round picks into real contributors. And now, with undrafted guys like Keon Jackson and Eugene Asante breathing down his neck, he can't afford to have another quiet camp. He can't coast on special teams anymore. This is it. The Dolphins coaching staff has made it clear, no more babysitting. That message wasn't just for Cam Smith. It's a full franchise tone shift. Produce now, or get out of the way. And with training camp around the corner and the first preseason game just weeks away, Tindall's got 3 or 4 chances, max, to show he belongs in this linebacker rotation. One missed tackle, one blown assignment, and that door could slam shut. Especially when you've got a new special teams coordinator who's likely evaluating these guys with fresh eyes and no loyalty. And that brings us to another angle that deserves real scrutiny, the overall construction of this team. We're sitting here with genuine linebacker depth, which is great. But what about cornerback? What about the offensive line depth? What about the backup quarterback spot? This roster is a patchwork job in places it shouldn't be, and it reflects years of inconsistent drafting and strange free agency choices by, you guessed it, Chris Greer. The same Chris Greer who's dodged accountability year after year. But let's be honest, if this season doesn't result in a playoff win, there's no more hiding. Not for him, not for Tua, not for McDaniel. Now, about that record projection from Adam Rank, he's not the only one questioning this team. National media outlets, former players, and even some insiders are echoing the same concern. This roster is built on a house of cards. Talented? Yes. Explosive when healthy? No doubt. But consistent? Durable? Deep? That's where the questions start pouring in. And it's not just about the big names like Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle. It's about the meat and bones of this team. Guys like Brooks, Dodson, and even KJ Britt could end up being the unsung heroes that keep this ship afloat while the stars take all the headlines. But if those core guys falter, if Tindall doesn't step up and if the rookies don't stick, then suddenly, you're scrambling, trying to plug holes mid-season while your schedule only gets tougher. Remember, Miami's got tough games on the road, a brutal stretch mid-season, and a whole lot of question marks going into week 1. If things start slow, that pressure's going to build fast. And when the pressure's on, that's when teams either rise or collapse. And let's not overlook the psychological weight on this locker room. Everyone knows this is a do-or-die season. You think the players don't feel it? You think Tua isn't aware that one more injury could cost him not just his job, but his future in this league? You think McDaniel doesn't hear the whispers that he's just a hype man without results? These guys are under a microscope, and every misstep is going to be magnified. Even that 7-win floor rank is projecting. That's not just a number. That's a mirror being held up to this franchise. It's a reflection of how outsiders see the Dolphins, flashy, inconsistent, and just short of being taken seriously. And that perception won't change until they prove otherwise on the field. So what now? The team's walking into training camp with high hopes, a loaded offense, and a linebacker unit that might quietly be one of the most reliable pieces of the puzzle. But let's not get comfortable. This is the NFL. Nothing is guaranteed, and every rep in training camp, every preseason snap, and every September Sunday is going to matter.